Thank you so much, Sister Ivy and the ZAWI executive for allowing me to launch your ZAWI 360. I really appreciate it. And I hope that the information that I shared tonight will definitely change somebody's life. Before we get started, let me just say a quick word of prayer. Our God and our Father, I count it a privilege to be able to be in the midst of my sisters and sharing this information with them. I want to ask for your Holy Spirit to come and be in our midst as we share this important topic. And I pray, dear Lord, that at the end of it all, may it be a blessing to somebody tonight. For I ask all this in your mighty name. Amen. All right.
Amen.
I believe you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we are.
All right. Okay, so for those of you who may not know me, my name is Lungu. I am based in the state of Florida. I've been here in the US now for 22 years, and came in 2003 with my husband and 2 kids at the time. And when we were coming to the US, the plan that we had when we were coming was that we were going to go to school, make money, and go back home. I don't know, does that sound familiar to anybody?
Very familiar.
All right, so that was the plan. Come here, make that dollar, and go back home and continue living our lives. We were so determined and thought that that was going to work out that we were actually planning on leaving our kids, because we thought that if we could come here without the kids, it would be easy to work and make the money and quickly go back home. I thank God that He denied those visas when we went there without the kids. And 22 years later, we're still trying to work, make money, and go home. So I don't know what would have become of my kids. So I thank God that He went ahead of that plan. So what have I been doing in the US over the last 22 years? I came, like most of us, started as a caregiver. I was actually offered a job right at the airport. The man that escorted my husband to come and pick us up from the airport was like, "Do you want a job?" And I'm like, "Of course, I want a job. That's what I've come here for." So right at the airport, I was offered a job, and I was ready to just put my bags down and start running. So I started off as a caregiver, became a medication aide, went and did my ADN, associate degree in nursing. Later on, became a bachelor's degree nurse. I worked. That's what I've been doing for the last 14 years. And I was even thinking of going to do NP as a psych nurse. That's advanced nurse practitioner as a psych nurse. But the thing that bothered me was that my colleagues who were nurse practitioners at the weekend would come back to the hospital and pick up shifts. So there they are, they had done their master's degrees, probably gotten a lot of debt while doing that. And now to pay up for those bills, they had to come and pick up extra shifts at the bedside to meet their needs. So for me, that didn't add up. Why should I go to school and incur debt only to come back and do the same thing that I've been doing? So when we run out of ideas, when the job that we have doesn't make sense, we look for that next certification, we look for that next degree. But somebody once said, if we take the money, all this money, and this has crossed my mind before, where I thought that wealthy people were selfish. I don't know if anybody else has thought like that. I felt like, there are so many resources in the world. If this money could just be equally distributed, we would all be just fine. I don't know if that's just me or anybody else has had that thought. But somebody said, if we took that money and equally distributed it so that everybody was provided for, before long, that money would return back to the original owners. So the problem is not lack of money. The problem is lack of financial knowledge. That is where the problem is. So in my previous slide, I said, are you backward up? What does that even mean? What has that got to do with finances? Okay, so when you are backward up, when you are on the road, okay, what does that seatbelt do for you? Does it prevent you from getting into a crash? It doesn't prevent you from getting into a crash. But in the event of the crash, it cushions the impact of that crash. So financial education is that cushion that will help in the time of impact. So if we are educated, and statistics say about 95% of Americans actually end up poor in retirement. So you work for 30, 40 years only to be poor in retirement. And the problem is that lack of financial knowledge. So we have a responsibility. What is our responsibility? Our responsibility is to understand money, understand how it works, and how to make it work for us. Okay. Once we understand this, then we are going to get out of that, that rat race cycle, because most of us are consumers. All we know is to go to work, pay our bills, and do it all over again. So once we learn how we can make money work for us, then we would be a step further in trying to get out of this rat race. So how does money grow? Money grows in three ways. The first way that money grows is fixed. And in the fixed, and most of us on this call probably are nurses. So when I talk to nurses, I tell them, imagine this is a straight line on the monitor at work. What does that mean about the patient that you're taking care of? It means they are dead. A straight line, you don't want a straight line, okay? So money that we put in the bank is as good as dead, because money in the bank doesn't grow, okay? The second way that money grows is variable. What does variable mean? It means it's unstable. You will wake up tomorrow, it's a Monday, the stock market opens and everything is flourishing and it's looking good. By the time Friday comes along, everything that you had gained during the week is gone. You are now suffering from high blood pressure because you have lost it all. Okay? And unfortunately, this is where our retirement accounts are put. So you can wake up today, or Russia wakes up tomorrow and does something crazy, your 401k, you have lost it. A politician wakes up and says something crazy, your 401k is lost. 2020 happened, we had coronavirus, your 401k is lost. What do all these things have in connection with your 401k? Nothing. And yet, we are the ones that get to pay for all these things. So unfortunately, in these accounts, that's where our retirement accounts are, and you cannot really plan, because you do not know the day you are retiring whether your money is going to be here or it's going to be right there. What is the third way how money grows is indexed. What is indexed? Indexed is accounts that grow when the markets are up, and the markets are down, it locks, protecting your principal and all the gains. Again, when the markets go up, it goes up, starting from where it had locked, it goes up. And then when the markets go down again, it locks, protecting the principal and all your gains. So where do we find these indexed accounts? I have been on a quest to find somewhere where I could keep my money, because I was tired of putting my money in Wells Fargo and then at the end of the day getting that 0.1% and nothing was happening. So I was on a quest to just find something. Where can I put my money where it's going to grow? So in 2019, I enrolled into one of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. I don't know if any of you have done that. And I learned quite a few things in there. And my major takeaways from there was, number one, the rule of 72. What is the rule of 72? The rule of 72 says, if you put money in a portfolio that grows by 1%, it will take 72 years for that money to double. So it will take you 72 years for your dollar to become $2 if you're growing it at 1%. And here I was putting my money in Wells Fargo where it was growing at 0.1%. So I didn't have time to wait for that money to double. The second thing I learned was compound interest. They kept talking about these accounts that can compound your money at 8% and 10%. And every time I'm like, okay, so where are these accounts? Because I have been looking and I haven't been able to find an account that will give me better than what I'm getting in Wells Fargo. So when I was done with that seminar, they referred me to one of their financial advisors. They said, just go on their website and pick a financial advisor next to you. They'll be able to guide you. Unfortunately, that financial advisor helped me open IRAs. And guess where those IRAs are? In variable accounts. So I paid money and I was told about these accounts that could compound for me at 8%. And yet I was still referred to a variable account. So in 2020, I was one of those that got excited about the stock market and lost so much money in the stock market because I was just trying to do whatever it is I could to try and just make my money work for me. So where are these indexed accounts? These indexed accounts are only found inside of a life insurance policy. Did you know that there are accounts inside of life insurance policies? Not many of us know that, because what has been sold to us is that life insurance is for death, for the death benefit. So while us as a middle class, we are busy running away from life insurance, the elite, the informed, are running towards the life insurance because they know the hidden gem inside of a life insurance policy. This information that I'm sharing with you today, ladies, is not information that I made up. This is information that is written in books. All these books right here can give you some kind of information about the secrets of how the millionaires and the successful have done it. And I just want to highlight one little book. This little book is a 2-hour read. And you can see from the title, Life Insurance, How the Wealthy Use Life Insurance as a Tax-Free Personal Bank to Supercharge Their Savings. Don't you want your own personal bank that you can grow your money tax-free and supercharge your savings? That is what we are here for, to educate each other, because just like me, most of you, when you landed at the airport, the first thing you were thinking is to go into that home somewhere and take care of somebody to make that first dollar. We didn't even have time to start reading such books. But this information is written in books. And if we can just educate ourselves, then we can find that we are going to spare ourselves from so many mistakes that others have already made, because it's all written in books. So some of you are probably thinking to yourselves right now, but I have life insurance. The question is, what kind of life insurance do you have? There are 4 kinds of life insurance. The first one is group life. So group life, you have to be part of the group. Most of it is offered through work. We thank Azana for the work they have done. We have our own group life insurance through Azana, but you have to be part of the group. As soon as you leave that job or leave that group, then you lose that coverage. Okay, you can't take it with you. The second one that is advertised on TV all the time is the term life policy. For just $10.99, you can get coverage. But what is term? It's temporal coverage. Who says your life is temporal? Are you sure that we will not be here in 10 years or 15 years or 30 years? Then what happens after that 30 years has lapsed? You probably won't even be able to afford that insurance. Okay. The third type of insurance is the whole life. The whole life covers you up to age 100. It tends to be expensive, but most of the whole life policies do not accumulate cash. So most people do not use whole life policies to accumulate cash. And the fourth type is universal life. The universal life is what we are trying to sensitize our community, because this policy has got so many benefits. It has benefits, almost 62 benefits in this policy. And I am just going to share some of those benefits with you this evening. Okay? So the first benefit of this account is compound interest. Okay? Compound interest. What is compound interest? So this great scientist, Mr. Albert Einstein, said 100 years ago, and it still stands true today, that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. If you understand it, you will earn it. If you don't, you will pay for it. Okay? What did he mean? Us as a middle class, we pay by compound interest, but we do not earn by compound interest. How do we pay by compound interest? If you have a school loan, you are paying by compound interest. That is why even President Obama, by the time he was becoming president, he still owed on his school loans. Okay? If you have a car loan, you are paying by compound interest. If you have a mortgage, you are paying by compound interest. If you calculate that mortgage, after 30 years, you'd probably have bought 2 other houses. Okay? How about our credit cards? We pay those by compound interest. At 29.9, 30% compound interest. So we are paying by compound interest, and yet we do not earn by compound interest. And it's no wonder we keep working and pulling doubles and triples, 3 jobs, and yet we're still not breaking even. Because everything around us is compounding while we are getting simple interest at 0.1%. So what does compound interest look like? And I'm going to give you a scenario of $100,000 earning 10% simple interest and compound interest. At the end of the first year, those accounts look exactly the same because they just earn 10%. But as the years keep going, we start to see a significant difference in these accounts. Okay? After 30 years, which is about the average work life, the simple interest has $400,000, while the compound interest has $1.7 million. How about after 40 years? The simple interest is at $500,000. What do you think the compound interest will be? $4.5 million. Now again, I say, for me, I was on a quest to look for anything that would help me out of Wells Fargo. So if I had found a simple interest account giving me 10%, I probably would thought I won the jackpot. But I didn't find anything that would give me 10%. Instead, my money was in Wells Fargo, where it was earning 0.1%. And after 40 years, that is what I would have walked away with. This to me sounds like the parable of the talents, where others are putting their money in compound interest accounts, the others in high yielding simple interest account, while the rest of us are busy borrowing our money. Even the Bible wants us to work hard and compound our money. So we know now that there are accounts where we can grow our money at compound interest. And maybe we will be able to balance our credits and our earning potential so that we don't have to work so hard. So when we know the information, we can do better for ourselves. Okay? In these accounts, you can grow your money tax-free. There's one gentleman that I talked to about this. I actually spoke to his wife, and the wife went and talked to him, and he just told her right off. He says, in America, there's no such thing as tax-free. You're just going to get arrested. Okay? Yes, actually, there is tax-free in America. Okay? Where you choose to grow your money is up to you. You can choose to grow it tax-free, or you can choose to grow it where you're going to pay taxes. Okay? So what are the tax codes that you can use? Okay? There are some common tax codes for you and me. Those tax codes are the Roth IRAs, the Roth 401ks, the 401ks, and the 403bs, the retirement accounts. Okay? So what is the problem with these accounts? They are all variable accounts. Okay? So you don't know where it's going to be the day you are retiring, whether you're going to be up here or whether you're going to be down here. Okay? And in these Roth accounts, you have limitations. These are the tax-free accounts. Okay? This is what you and I are given to grow our money tax-free, the Roth. Okay? So in this Roth, you can only put $7,000 in there every year. That's it. What if you have $10,000? Where do you put the $3,000 to grow it tax-free? That's your limit. Okay? And if you are blessed with a job that pays you $150,000 a year, you don't even qualify for that Roth. So where do you grow your money? Tax-free. Okay? So unfortunately, this is where you and I, this is where they feel we are supposed to be. What are they doing? They are growing their money tax-free in tax codes 7702 and 575 annuities. Okay? And in these accounts, these are indexed accounts. They grow when the markets grow and lock so that they never have to lose a penny because of market fluctuation. In this account, this is where you put your safe money, the money that you want to use that time when you can no longer pull those doubles. This is where you want to keep that safe money. Okay? How about college? How are you saving for your children's college? It's amazing how quickly our children grow. Okay? Before you know it, they are 18 and they're ready to go to college. The question is, when they're ready to go to college, how are they going to pay for that college? Okay? Are they going to take a school loan? Okay? Or are they going to pay out of pocket? Or are they going to get a scholarship? Or have you opened an account for them that they can use to go to college? Okay? If you have an account for them, then you probably want to have this account, the 529. Because if you go to the bank, this is what you are going to be offered, the 529. What is wrong with the 529? It too is a variable account. Okay? And not only is it a variable account, it comes with so many limitations. One of the limitations is that this account comes with tax privileges in the state where it is issued. And in order to benefit from those tax privileges, you have to use that 529 in the state where it is issued. So if your child decides they don't want to go to school in that state, you will be penalized to use it in a different state. Okay? How about if your child is smart and they don't even need that 529? Once they try to apply for college grants or anything like that, they put in their social, it triggers that they have a 529, they no longer even qualify for those scholarships. How about if your child decided they don't even want to go to college after all? They cannot use this money for anything else without being penalized. So there are so many disadvantages that come with the 529. Where are the elite growing their children's college funds? In the 7702. In the 7702, These are indexed account. The money grows and never loses. And it doesn't have all those restrictions that come with the 529. So if your child chooses to go out of state, that is okay. If your child decides they don't even want to go to college after all, you can use this money to fund whatever it is they want to do. If they are smart and qualify for all the grants and don't even need this money, they can use this money as a down payment for their first home instead of graduating college with debt. So what account are you using to grow, to prepare for your children's college? Okay. How about poverty? Do you know what the number one cause of poverty is? Sickness. Sickness is the number one cause of poverty. According to the CDC in 2021, over 790,000 people suffered a stroke. Over 800,000 people had a heart attack. And over 1.7 million people suffered, had a diagnosis of cancer. If anybody knows anything about medical expenses in this country, you can become broke overnight just because of medical expenses. But my question to you tonight is sickness a matter of if or a matter of when? Okay? Regardless of what your answer is, my next question is, what account do you have that will replace your income if or when you became sick and could not go to work? Will you be able to comfortably sit at home, waiting to recover without thinking about rushing to work? Will your children be able to go to school, continue going to school without having to change schools? We all know how expensive Adventist education is. Will they continue to go to that Advent school? Will you be able to pay your bills, your mortgage, without having to tap into a credit card? Will your husband be able to take care of you without taking on a second job because you no longer can bring in income into the home? What account do you have that can replace your income? And when I ask this question, most people think about disability insurance at work. First of all, disability insurance is 60% of what 100% cannot do. Okay? And then it only lasts up to 9 months for long-term disability. What happens after 9 months if you still cannot go to work? So for a scenario like this lady in the yellow jacket, she can probably ask for some light duties at work so that she can at least continue paying her bills. But for a scenario like this one, this gentleman is probably not going back to work anytime soon. If he manages to recover from this bed, ICU bed, he probably still needs to go to rehab. He probably still needs to relearn how to walk and talk and just to do the activities of daily living. So as he's lying in this hospital bed, what is this woman thinking in her head? 3 things are going on in her head right now. Number 1, do I stay here to take care of my husband? Or do I go home to take care of my children? Or do I go to work? Because right here is income that is no longer coming into the house. So life insurance with living benefits is able to take care of one in the event of a critical illness. Life insurance with living benefits will be able to supplement one's income in the event of a critical illness like this. In Ecclesiastes 9, verse 5, it says, "For the living know that they are going to die." And I added to that and said, the living know that they are going to get sick. Because before death happens, very few people just die from an impact and they are gone. Most people go through stuff. So there's life before death comes. We know that this is coming. How are we preparing for that? These are the 5 pillars of a strong financial foundation. You can see right at the bottom, it says healthcare, because that is inevitable. You can't run away from that. And after that, it says protection. You need to have a strong financial foundation. Most of us, unfortunately, work in reverse. The first thing that comes to our mind is we need to invest. We need to invest, okay? That is good. But if the engine that is investing breaks down, then that is it. You have nothing. You can no longer continue with that investing that you are doing. So you need to make sure that you have the right protection. You have the healthcare, you have the protection. Then you can work your way up to that financial foundation. Matthew 7:24-27 says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who builds his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." How is your financial foundation? Is it built on the rock, or is it built on the sand? When I first got this information, I was very excited, because especially being a nurse, you see so much in the hospitals. You see how people they're trying to recover, and yet they're thinking about their bills. They're thinking about going to work. It's so painful, So for me, when I first heard this information, I was very, very excited. And immediately I took action. I got myself a $500,000 policy. Okay. And now, just like that seat belt, it's not that I'm not going to get sick. But in the event that I do, I have a bucket of money just sitting around there waiting to take care of me in that time. You can see right here, it says critical illness, $450,000 will come to me, not because I'm dead, but because I'm sick and I need to be taken care of. My children will be able to continue going to school. My husband can take time off and take care of me, because we'll have income that will come into the house. Most of us, we work with elderly people in their homes. Have you ever wondered how they manage to pay you to take care of them? It's because they did something. Okay. Somebody once said, "Let the young you take care of the old you." So while they were young and strong, they did something so that when they are old and frail, they can still continue the life that they knew. So chronic illness is just old age. In the event of failure to do 2 activities of daily living, $450,000. I have a bucket of money just sitting there with my name on it, waiting to take care of me. God forbid I have a diagnosis of a terminal illness. I have $500,000 that will be advanced to me while I'm still alive, not because I'm dead. Okay? So this is for me and my peace of mind. I am buckled up. I want you to be buckled up with me, and make sure that the people around you are equally buckled up. I'm going to end with 2 stories. This lady is a friend. In November of 2023, I called her because I wanted to share this information with her. That was just a week before Thanksgiving. She listened to what I had to say. And at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, she said she was very happy with what she had. And she told me she was going to get back to me because on Friday, it was a Wednesday, because on Friday, she had a doctor's appointment. So she would get back to me after her doctor's appointment. The following week was Thanksgiving. I did not reach back to her because I was busy preparing for Thanksgiving, and she didn't get back to me. But on the following Monday, I woke up to a WhatsApp. I was added to a WhatsApp group because my friend had been diagnosed with cervical cancer. And knowing what I knew that that was just the beginning of a long journey ahead. So quickly, that WhatsApp group grew to so many people, and in no time, $30,000 was raised to help her start her cancer treatment. So she went on and started her cancer treatment and would get updates every now and then. Then in January, this was the message that she posted. Thank you so much for your prayers and your support. I have not been able to work since September. As you can imagine, it has taken a toll on my finances, my health. Please help me focus on fighting cancer. I just need 150 friends who can sacrifice $20 a month. That will cover my living expenses as I keep fighting. If you are able to help me on a monthly basis until I get back to work, please add your name. How many of us have 150 friends? I know certainly I don't. Okay. And guess what happened to that WhatsApp group once this message was posted? Everybody started exiting. And unfortunately, in September, when she started getting sick, she had just bought a house. As I speak to you now, she's on the verge of losing her home. What if I had caught her earlier, and probably she would have heard my spill and bought into it? How different would that have been for her? What does your financial foundation look like? This lady, unfortunately, also was diagnosed with cancer in February of 2024. So fortunately, just in December, this lady right here had gone and shared the information with her, and she took action. And lo and behold, unfortunately, February, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So, unlike my friend, she received a check of $300,000 to take care of her because she was sick. She didn't have to go through a GoFundMe. She didn't have to start needing 150 friends. $300,000 came to her to take care of her while she was sick. My sisters, we are a prayerful community, and so are my friends, very prayerful too. But sickness comes to those who pray and to those who do not pray. Do you have your umbrella ready? Okay, let us buckle up and start the journey right in 2025. It says it doesn't really matter how fast you are going if you are going in the wrong direction. So my prayer is that tonight we are going to exit if we are in the wrong direction, turn around and do it right. Investment is good, but if our foundation is not established well, when the rains or the storms of life hit, everything that we think we are working so hard for will come crashing down. I have so much more information that I can share with you. Unfortunately, we do not have time. But on an individual basis, I can talk to you and see how best we can customize this for you to make it work for you. So that's my information. Please reach out and let's see how we can change our trajectory in 2025 and make things better. This is where we start. We have to start here first before everything else to make it right. Thank you so much, Sister Ivy and the ZAWI executive, for allowing me to launch your ZAWI 360. I really appreciate it. And I hope that the information that I shared tonight will definitely change somebody's life tonight. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen.
Ladies, were you blessed with this information tonight?
Yes.
Amen.
I
Amen.
was, and all I can say is that especially that foundation,
Amen.
do it before you get sick, because once you are labeled sick, you know, you might not be able to qualify for that critical care. But oh wow, this information is information that needs to go in front of our children as well, ladies. I'm telling you, I mean, for us too, of course, for us, but imagine making sure that your children understand this kind of information. That's amazing.